You're trying to create a narrative for a higher price for Bitcoin. And in order to do that, you need to convince everyone out there that gold is worthless, and all of that value that currently resides in gold will be all transferred. All $12 trillion of it will be transferred to Bitcoin. And in that way, you can justify a $500,000 Bitcoin price or $1 million Bitcoin price. Otherwise, why would anybody pay $60,000 today without that target in mind?
In Evergreen Debate with Frank Gistra, Michael Saylor debunks the myth why gold is better than Bitcoin. Named by critics as the greatest debate of the century, Michael Saylor gives sound reasons why Bitcoin could flip gold to become digital gold. When you trace the history of money, it has gone through many different phases. At the start, people would use commodities as money. This includes assets like silver, copper, iron, precious gemstones, clothes, food, oil, and of course gold. From commodities, coins were used to represent money. Coins can be traced as far back to before the birth of Jesus Christ, where notable empires like the Romans and Persians carried out businesses in their local country coins. Currently, nearly all countries in the world still use coins and fiat as money. But Mr. Saylor argues that this won't be the case for long. In fact, Bitcoin will become the global money, because cryptography is the currency of the future. Many investors already agree that crypto is the currency of the future. If you look at the graph of crypto adoption versus the adoption of internet, the figures trace each other very closely. If this crypto adoption continues at this pace, then it's only a matter of time before other countries like El Salvador also name Bitcoin and crypto as legal tender, or even perhaps the only tender. If you find the video helpful, then don't forget to subscribe. Let's get right into it.
So the debate is Bitcoin versus gold. I think that all gold holders and all Bitcoin holders agree on sound money principles, and the real debate is which is the best monetary system in order to pursue the ideals of sound money. So if we look at the history of money, we've gone from commodity money to coinage of those commodities, to notes represented by that money, to fiat currency, and now we have cryptography as a basis of money. Now, sometimes gold advocates say that gold is the ideal money. Well, really, the ideal money, if God came down and God waved his or her hand and created the ideal money, it would be based upon Luca Pacioli's modern accounting principles of double entry accounting. And if you had godlike power and you could implement a double entry ledger like Pacioli introduced in 1494, and perhaps you could define 21 million units that are infinitely subdividable, trillions and trillions of times each, you could maintain that in magic space, and then you could settle everybody's trades instantly everywhere on Earth, everywhere in the universe, in a fair and equitable fashion. That would be a good money. We could call that God coin. And God coin is like perfect instant transactions, never losing any information. Well, the next best thing that we've invented as humans is Bitcoin. We digitized our photos, we digitized our videos. Now we're going to digitize our money, and our currency and assets are going to flow to billions of people. Gold's not a solution. It's not practical to distribute gold in small quantities to 5 billion people. Bitcoin is a solution. It is spreading at more than 200% a year. We're adding 3 million users a week. It's accelerating. If I wanted to give knowledge, music, and money to the world, in the 19th century, you did it with books, pianos, and gold. They're now antiques for the elite. In the 21st century, you're going to use the internet platform and Bitcoin, and you're going to provide iBooks and Google and YouTube. You're going to provide Apple Music and Amazon Music and Spotify to everybody, and you're going to provide Bitcoin as an asset for everybody. Gold used to be the best solution. It isn't anymore. The time has come to pass the torch from gold to Bitcoin.
You know, I don't think Bitcoin is a safe haven asset yet. I think there's a very good chance it never will be. I think it may aspire to be, but aspiring to be something doesn't make it so. And, sometimes I dance around the living room in my underwear, but it doesn't make me Madonna. So as far as your claims on gold, I'm not really sure what you're trying to achieve by disparaging gold. I mean, I do have a theory, and you're welcome to correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think you're trying to create a narrative for a higher price for Bitcoin. And in order to do that, you need to convince everyone out there that gold is worthless, and all of that value that currently resides in gold will be all transferred. All $12 trillion of it will be transferred to Bitcoin. And in that way, you can justify a $500,000 Bitcoin price or $1 million Bitcoin price. Otherwise, why would anybody pay $60,000 today without that target in mind?
Gold advocates argue that gold is the ideal and perfect money. But according to the definition of ideal money, as Michael Saylor argues, it is based on the double entry accounting principles. This means that ideal money should be finite and can instantly settle transactions around the world with transparency, equity, and reliability. This is something that gold does not offer, since it still relies on both principles of manual accounting and logging to settle transactions. According to Michael Saylor, if it's not digital, then it won't survive. Just take the internet, for example. Everything has and will become digital. This includes our photos, videos, music, and eventually our money as well. In the words of Michael Saylor, gold is antique and should remain a collectible.
In many ways, I think it's sad because I think Bitcoin believers and gold believers agree on 90% of everything. And we fall apart on this last 10% of which one is better. And I think it's all part and parcel of this binary attitude that exists in the discourse in America today. You're either on one side or the other, and there's no middle ground. But I see it as a strategy of your strategy where the stakes are kind of do or die. It's sort of a Game of Thrones per se. But the truth is we're only in the first season, and there are a lot of risks that lie ahead of us. And the question you have to ask is, will you still be alive in season 8? And I just don't think you are presenting the risks that face Bitcoin in order to get there and survive.
So gold is element 79. It's an ideal ornamental metal. It's indestructible, malleable. It's attractive. We love these things. It makes great jewelry. It makes a great ornament. It's just not a perfect monetary asset because you can inflate gold. You can confiscate gold. It's immobile. It's not easily divisible, and you can counterfeit it. It shows up in the economy in a heterogeneous fashion. Lots of different types of gold coins, lots of different types of gold bars, lots of different types of gold jewelry. And the paper gold itself is sometimes trading at 100 to 1 versus the underlying physical gold, and there's no trusted protocol to guarantee the integrity or the synchronicity between paper gold and actual gold. If we compare that to Bitcoin, Bitcoin is not just an asset, it's a network and it's a protocol. Bitcoin is harder, it's smarter, it's faster, and it's stronger than the gold that came before it. Harder meaning gold has a half-life of 30 years. You make 2% more every year. Bitcoin has a half-life of forever. It's effectively immortal and it's organically evolving. It's only going to be better in 100 years than it is now. It's smarter because the applications running on Bitcoin are driven by modern software and modern CPUs and modern servers. They keep getting smarter and faster with Moore's law. You can make 100 million calculations a second around the world across hundreds of thousands of different servers on Bitcoin applications. You can't do that with gold. It's faster. You can do billions of transactions at the speed of light on these applications. You can run them 24/7, 365. It's stronger. You can channel high frequency energy. I could flash 10,000 loans for 3 days each across 100 jurisdictions between 10,000 different companies and fetch them back with laser-like precision. So in short, Bitcoin, it's more than just a monetary network. It's a trust network allowing millions of applications to serve billions of people. And it's going to accelerate global commerce in the 21st century. And it's critical for allowing for safe and efficient operations in cyberspace.
Central banks own 33,000 tons of gold, which is 20% of all the gold ever mined. And they're furiously buying it year after year after year. And there's a reason for it. And I can't say the same for Bitcoin. It's not owned by any of the central banks. It's extremely unlikely it ever will be. And I think Bitcoin makes a much easier target than gold if it becomes a threat. And the central banks are never going to destroy gold. It'd be akin to shooting themselves in the foot. Bitcoin they have no allegiance to, so they can go after that in spades. And gold, you know, one of the other misconceptions, and I think where people get mixed up with the Bitcoin comparison, is that gold is not designed to moonshot through the roof like some tech darling. It's designed as a store of value against inflation, the devaluation of currencies, and sharp equity downturns. It's been tested time and time again throughout history. Bitcoin has never been tested, especially in a financial crisis, because Bitcoin was introduced after the 2008 crisis. In the meantime, gold has doubled since then. If, God forbid, there were ever a war, I would prefer to have my money stored in gold, which is going to be safe from cyber attacks on both the internet and the power grids.
If we contrast the golden knight with the Bitcoin dragon, the golden knight's got a 30-year life. It's plodding, stupid, heavy, predictable, and stagnant. Up against the Bitcoin dragon, the dragon is immortal, teleporting, dematerializing, hyper-intelligent, rapidly evolving, moves at the speed of light. Which one of these two is going to win the fight? Goldbug say put 10% into physical gold to protect against the bank crash. What about the other 90%? They're not really providing a solution. They're suggesting a hedge. Bitcoin is a solution. Gold is defense. Bitcoin is an offense. It's spreading at 200% a year. It's going to be to 250 million people by the end of this year. Next stop is 1 billion. Next stop is everybody. The network is worth 25 trillion a year to solve the strong money problem. The protocol's already recruited Binance, Coinbase, Fidelity, PayPal, MicroStrategy, Tesla. We heard Venmo joined. Next will come Apple, Google, Facebook, and Microsoft.
According to the double entry accounting principles, it's very important for the ideal and perfect money to be finite. This is also the biggest concern with fiat currency in the world today, where the banks keep on printing money. This devalues the currency over time, raising inflation and also lowering the interest rates you would get from the bank. If you look at the interest you would receive from the bank today, you would hardly find banks giving you 2%. Most will give you less than 1%. Compared to past years, banks could be seen giving up to 7% interest for keeping your money in the bank. In fact, 80% of all US dollars in existence were printed in the last 22 months. Hence, a finite supply is crucial for something to be deemed perfect money. As Michael Saylor argues, Bitcoin is ideal because there will ever be 21 million in circulation. However, gold doesn't tick this criteria because gold has a half-life of 30 years and 2% of new gold can be made every year. Do you agree with Michael Saylor's argument? To learn more about the latest crypto news, watch these videos here.